Hello and welcome to Jim Reviews Stuff here on Jim Johnston Reviews the World. Now recently I had a birthday, and so for my birthday a friend of mine who is a casual viewer sent me this for my birthday. This is the Instapot cutting set. So it comes with a cutting board that has Instapot cook times on one side and some recipe stuff on the other, a chop and scoop knife, as well as a blade cover that you can also use with your scooping, things of that nature. My friend sent me this and it had a little note in it because I think it came from Amazon. And it was like, hey, this is for your, when you're making stuff in your Instapot. Thing is, I don't have an Instapot, I have a Crock Pot. So my friend, not really a huge home cook, doesn't completely know the difference between a Instapot and a Crock Pot, but hey, that's alright. I super duper appreciate the gift. Gift any friend ever gives me, I always really love and appreciate. So I thought it'd be fun for today's episode to go ahead and give this a look, break it open, we're going to chop some stuff up, and we'll see the initial thoughts of this, because I think this is it's kind of gimmicky, yes, but I think it might be a fun addition to any home cook, especially someone who uses a Instapot, or even a crock pot, or a stock pot often, that, you want to transfer things from a cutting board to a pot easily. So anyway, that's enough of me rattling on. Let's break this open, let's get out some veggies, and see what we can do with this thing. I just thought real quick I'd show you the back of the packaging. So 10 by 14 inch cutting board, 7.4 inch chop and slide knife with blade cover. So that's the back of the packaging. It's fairly attractive, except the cutting board doesn't really stay in its little housing. And I always find it at least a little bit ironic when you have to use a knife to open a knife. Went ahead, opened this up and washed everything, sanitized it, got it ready for usage because we're gonna do some chopping. Check it out, and I need to do some meal prep for some future Cook It and Eat It videos anyway. So initial impressions, that's an excellent blooper. So initial impressions, first, the cutting board is very thin, much thinner than I thought it was going to be, or thought it looked in the packaging. And also, as you can see, just in the process of washing this with very hot water, detergent, and a little bit of bleach, so washing, sanitizing, and drying, it's already got a bow in it. So that's minus a star. Minus a star for the cutting board already, so the highest score I'm going to be able to give this already is 4 stars. Alright, on the knife, here's the knife with the shield. Nice little pull tab to remove the shield. Shield is of pretty heavy duty, pretty thick quality. I like that so far. Again, it has a nice little tab, and it does appear to work either this way, it'll lock on, or the other way, which seems to be the more natural way. That locks on pretty good, or good enough to store it. You're supposed to also be able to use this to scrape and dump. But I think that's going to be cumbersome and create dirt or needless mess. It's going to be hard to clean. Get stuff down in here. You get stuff down in the shield. It's going to be really hard to get in there and clean. So we'll probably just use this to protect it when we put it away. Well, the knife itself is of pretty high quality. It does seem to be, somewhere between a chopper and a meat cleaver. And coming out of the package, I was concerned about using this because I am left-hand dominant, even though I have the unfortunate issue with the one finger on my hand from an accident last year. I'm still very much left-hand dominant, so I was concerned about, chopping's fine, but I was a little concerned that it might be awkward to scoop this way, with the left hand, but we'll see. But actually, upon looking at it, here, and look here, this knife is actually ambidextrous, and that's a plus. That's going to help the rating on this knife because it can be used and chopped either way, scoop either way, either hand, either direction. So that's a plus. And I'll tell you, coming out, I already know this blade, fairly sharp. And it is, if you can see, it is double edged. A lot of less expensive knives. I believe this little set was less than 15 bucks. I actually looked it up, not to offend my friend, but for research for this video, I looked up what these were costing. And these are less than 15 bucks. And very often, where you spend less than 20 bucks on a knife, on an individual knife, generally speaking, you will not have a dual-sided edge like that. It'll be pointed on one side. So that's a plus. So right now we're looking at 4 stars. I've got some green onions, some celery, some carrots, some wonderful fresh Michigan grown asparagus. If you're watching, Jess, I got that Michigan asparagus. And we got some turkey smoked sausage. So let me peel a couple of these carrots, break a couple things off, and we'll do some cutting. Alright, first things first, I open up my bag of celery and it's kind of janky on the end. So let's put it to the big test first thing. Like warm butter. Wow, that was good. Alright, I got some things set up for us to chop up. Let's see how this knife works. You saw that first little clip. I headed the whole celery thing because the top was looking a little janky. And I apologize if you can hear in the background, my next door neighbor is mowing their grass again, even though they literally just mowed it yesterday. I don't understand that. Anyway, so let's start off by trimming off these celeries. Again, nice and smooth, no problems there. Cap them again, even though I just capped them. And I'm going to pull one out. Oh, this one's cracked, but I did wash this, so it looks pretty good. So this one here, the recipe I'm going to use it for is actually going to be on the channel at another time, but I just need these chunks. Then for the sake of trying this out, cut that piece off, cut it in half. That's nice. Let's see if we could use this leading edge and split this sucker. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's nice. So this sticks out just enough from the plastic housing that you can use it to split. That's nice. This thing's nice and sharp. I gotta give it credit for that. A lot of times less expensive knives don't come out of the package very sharp. Especially this being a quote brand name. It's the Instapot official. You know, they could have been trading on their name. Okay, I don't think this is how this is meant to work, but this does work. So that's one attempt at the scoop. It's kind of a foreign thing to me at this point. And I left these bigger because I'm probably gonna have a couple pieces of peanut butter on that. Go to our carrots. Again, these 2 carrots, I just want to break them down into slightly smaller pieces. I'm using them in a recipe that you may or may not be able to find on this channel when you are watching this, but you will be able to see it at some point. I'm doing a whole chicken in my crock pot. So I'm going to show you how to do that in another episode, and we need those vegetables to set our chicken on top of. Alright, let's give this a look. Having a little hard time figuring out how to grip this to get into more of a fast chopping. Try a choke up grip. It's nice. It's a little awkward. I'm not too sure of the balance yet, and I don't want to try to go too fast and cut my finger off. I mean, I like that. Let's see if we just do a straight scoop. So just a straight scoop, not so much with this. Try it this way again. So I think maybe this is meant more to, you know, scoop that way into a pot or something. A couple green onions we got to break down for another recipe I'm getting ready to do. Take off those ends. Let's see if it's getting through. So I was moving a little fast, so it didn't quite get through the back skin. Let's reset and try that, pushing a little bit harder. Yeah, so it is sharp, but it's not the sharpest thing in the world, at least for speed. Not bad, but not great. Let's try it a little more deliberately, and that's fine. Gotta choke up again, because this is a big, heavy knife. So if you're a trained chef and you know how to really quickly chop, feed the food through, this might not quite do it for you. It is sharp, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be the fastest knife in the world. But then again, I think it's meant for amateur home chefs like myself. There we go. We got that onion broke down. That's pretty good. First we chopped it. Now let's try scooping it. Okay, let's see how she does breaking down a little piece of smoked sausage into rings. Even it out a little. I really feel the need to choke up way up high on this blade. So despite the fact that it's pretty sharp for a not super expensive knife, I find that it's not getting through onion skins or even the, I don't even think this is a casing on here. I think that's the casing on this, or what appears to be a casing. The outside is a skin formed during the cooking process. It's ripping it up on the back side. It's ripping the skin. So you can kind of see it had a tendency to rip the skin up. Whoop, there goes that one. It had a tendency to rip up the backs of the skin on that. So that's not the best thing. It's not the best thing, but it's not terrible. Nah. So for cutting the sausage, I'm going to kind of give it a meh rating. See, I'm so used to not being able to scoop. So because it is kind of made ambidextrous with the lips on both sides, it's not really the best thing in the world for, you know, I I might have to get used to it a little bit. Doesn't seem like that's the best thing in the world because the blade should sit more flat or more at angles into the housing so that when you scoop, the stuff slides right up in. See, when you're down like this, the blade's at a pretty decent angle, so it doesn't necessarily want to scoot the stuff onto the blade as much as it just kind of wants to push it. Some good thick fresh Michigan asparagus. First thing we want to do, and again, let's test the overall choppability. Well, I want to just take off about a ½ inch through it. Not bad at all. And I'm going to prepare these for sauteing. So I'm going to cut these into about 2-inch pieces. And they sure like to roll. So I'm going to saute these with salt, pepper, garlic, a little bit of cumin. But that's another show. So check it out here on Jim Johnson Reviews the World for my delicious sauteed spinach recipe. One more time. All right, let's see if I can figure out how to scoop here with the asparagus and not roll them all over my kitchen. So I'm really thinking that the best use of this, and again, it's spilling everywhere, but I'm thinking the best use of this chop and slide, chop and scoop knife gimmick is in concert with the cutting board. You break your stuff down and use this to scoop it off. All right, so this is our Instapot chop and scoop cutting board guard and knife review. We had some thin sliced carrots and celery. We had some green onion, coarse chopped some asparagus for sauteing. We coined some sausage, and we cut some big pieces of celery and carrots for stock. Review time. Initial thoughts, initial review. I don't want to be a hater. I don't want to be too critical or too harsh, but I'm going to give this a 2.5 stars out of 5. I'm a little disappointed. I'm disappointed with the thickness and quality of the cutting board. It's more of a cutting mat, and the fact that it warped the first time I washed it with hot water. I give it a plus for the quality of this knife guard. And while the knife is sharp, it's sharp enough for good chopping, but it's not really sharp enough for fast knife movement or detailed work. I had a problem getting through the back skin on these onions, and you can see it kind of tore up this sausage a little bit on the back as well as it hit the board. I'm by no means a trained knife master, classical chef, nothing like that. I'm just a home cook. Been doing it a long time. I found, you really had to choke up to do some more detailed chopping, and that gets a little awkward because you're choking up into this, and then back to get that weight balance for the larger chopping, coarser chopping. That was good. So you need to break down some big vegetables, some big pieces of this or that. You're gonna kind of a cleaver, or of a downward motion, not necessarily for speed. It's good for that. And quite honestly, I find the scoop, unless you use the scooping method in concert with the board or with a different cutting board, it advertised like you could just, chop up your vegetables, then easily scoop them up on the board, dump them in your bowl, dump them right in your crock pot, dump them right in your Instapot. But really, it just kind of pushes stuff. It just kind of pushes the stuff around. So using the two in concert, yeah, that might be a little smoother, and then because you have this guard and everything, a little more safe for you than just using a standard kitchen knife like this. 2.5 out of 5. It's an under $15 item, yes. It's kind of gimmicky, and that's where I really kind of I gotta knock it a little bit, because this is clearly something that is aimed at Instapot fans, Instapot fanatics. It's an add-on accessory, and although, I don't have an Instapot, but, some of the stuff they have is really good stuff. The baking inserts and the pan inserts and things like that, those are great things. The steaming inserts, those are all great accessories to really increase the versatility of your Instapot if you have one. This is kind of meant to be along the same lines, but folks at home, if you have a pretty good chef's knife already, you have a pretty good... I suggest bamboo, inch-thick bamboo cutting boards. If you have a good cutting board at home, you have a good chef's knife, don't bother spending your money on this gimmick. 2.5 stars, and put a stamp on it, gimmick. It's almost as bad as an as-seen on TV item. Not terrible. If I hadn't been given this, my friend, I'm not going to name my friends on this thing, but my friend who sent me this, thank you. I appreciate it, and I will use this. I will use this. I don't have a lot of kitchen tools anymore through circumstances that have happened in my life. So this will get used. It will be appreciated, but if you're gonna buy one for yourself, don't bother. Unless you're really young or you've been through situations in life that you don't have much, go ahead and buy it. But if you've got a decently equipped kitchen, don't bother with it. If you really need something for the price, or if you catch it on sale, you need a good chop knife or another cutting mat. If you catch it on sale for under 10 bucks, go ahead and get it. But for the everyday price of nearly 15 bucks, I can't recommend it. Want to thank you for watching Jim Reviews Stuff here on Jim Johnston Reviews the World. And if you like my stuff, go ahead and comment below, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends and family to help me grow Jim Reviews Stuff, to help me grow Cook It and Eat It, and just to generally overall help me grow Jim Johnston Reviews the World. You can also find Jim Johnston Reviews the World at Jim Johnston Reviews the World on both Facebook and Instagram. Until our next review, we'll catch you later. Jim here. I realized while editing this, it's been 2 months since I filmed this, and I've only used this knife one other time. Be weird, be free, and most importantly, be independent.